talk about first?
Let's go for North Korea.
Yeah, North Korea.
Okay. So North Korea was made during World War. It was World War One or World War Two. Do you know?
World War Two.
World War Two, and it's actually very interesting. So, Soviet Union came over, and basically said, "We're owning Korea now. We've got Korea," and the US came over and was like, "Hold on, wait a second, mate. We're controlling this area." And he's like, "No, we've got it." So Soviet Union took over North Korea, and America took over South Korea, and basically North Korea was like, "Hold on a second. What if we want to be on our own?" Soviet Union was like, "Nah, you're good." So they tried for years and years, and eventually Soviet Union got bored, basically, and they had to invest all their money in the Cold War. So they left North Korea. They sort of withdrawed, and then that is when the Un's family came into power. Do you want to elaborate on that, Nan?
Yeah, I mean, after they came into power, I guess this is what North Korea is famous for. They just basically became the supreme leaders, and there were parades for them, and it was bad for everyone else, but they had the life, basically. It was a very military country. Sure, you can visit North Korea, but if you go there, you'll just see the solitary military world that is separate from our almost media-run, not paradise, but different, completely alternate almost.
Yeah. I feel like we've jumped in a bit. What about we give some little bit more facts about it? So the capital of North Korea is Pyongyang. The leader right now since 2011 is Kim Jong-un. Official language is Korean. Government type is single-party dictatorship. They like to call this is a very controversial thing because a lot of people disagree with it, but it's under the Workers' Party of Korea. The population is roughly around 26 million, but we can't be sure as it's a very tight-knit and one of the most private countries in the world. Their bordering countries are obviously their neighbours, South Korea, China and Russia. So the political system and leadership is... Sorry, I made a mistake before. It's not the Un dynasty, it's the Kim dynasty. So the founder of it in 1948 was King Il-sung. Then it was King Jong-il, King Jong-un. The state ideology is called Juk, which emphasises self-reliance and independence, though in the practice relies heavily on Chinese support and ill-set final activities. We'll be talking about some of these final activities, especially the Lazarus Group, right at the end of this, So if you're interested in hackers and that sort of thing, carry on listening for that.
Yeah, and military. The military and nuclear ambitions of North Korea, it makes it one of the largest standing armies in the world, and the country, like I said before, highly prioritizes this. It has conducted multiple nuclear tests since 2006, and North Korea possesses ballistic missile capabilities, including ISBMs, which are intercontinental ballistic missiles. And they justify their nuclear program as a deterrent against US and South Korean hostility.
That's in quotes, by the way. That's not us saying that. Okay. Isolations and sanctions. So North Korea, since it's such a private and not talked about country, the UN, the US and the EU and others sanction the power that North Korea have. With same thing with Germany after World War II, where now Germany has a limit on how much army they have. That's sort of the same thing with North Korea. Kim Jong-un has come out many times, same with Kim Jong-il and Kim Jong-sun, come out saying that they are objective to a lot of discrimination even though they've done nothing wrong. Currently, a lot of the world disagrees with this statement and believes they are, how to put this, doing something wrong. Let's say practicing nuclear missiles or having nuclear capability that's not allowed.
There's also a moral problem with North Korea that they argue is true. And it's actually integrated in a lot of media.
Yeah.
And North Korea can't really do anything about it because, like I said, it's not a media-run country, unlike many other countries nowadays. I know this is a bit off the rails, but to show how different of a country North Korea is, you have to understand that despite the fact that they're military run, they also concentrate so much on national pride. You might know that they actually competed the World Cup in 2010, and when they lost, their team got publicly shamed, and they were all forced to resign, and no one really knows what happened to them next. Their fates have been unknown. And that's what really people are complaining about, the morality problem in North Korea.
And also, there's a lot of so I'm going to talk about the more bizarre rules of North Korea, which I'm sure a lot of us have heard from the internet and other things. This source is verified, but make sure when you're looking into this, you've got to be careful what you're looking at, because sometimes people go a bit over the top and they're wrong. So this is information straight from North Korea. The worshipping of the Kim family is mandatory, and citizens must show absolute love and reverence to Kim Jong-il's son, Kim Jong-il, and Kim Jong-un. All homes must, and this is underlined by the North Korean government, must display photos of Kim Jong-il and Kim Jong-un and Kim Jong-il's son, and will be inspected weekly by the government. If they don't, they'll be subject to corporal punishment, prison, or torture. Now, this is another one. I'm going to let Nitin take over with this one.
There's a list of 28 government-approved hairstyles, so you can't just get, like, a low taper fade. Shorter for men, modest for women. Long or western styles, dyed hair, and spiky cuts are banned. Men must keep hair under 2 inches, and women are expected to keep it traditional.
Okay, now this is more of the more known ones. No foreign media, especially, this is very, very big, I don't know why, Westerns, and the more obvious one, South Korea, as, you know.
I guess it's because the Westerns were involved in the war, but...
Yeah. So watching foreign films or listening to foreign music, especially K-pop, is illegal. I was listening to a podcast recently, actually, where a person listened to K-pop and they were subject to prison for 20 years for listening to K-pop by mistake. Offenders can be sent to labour camps. So if I need to elaborate on that, labour camps are basically working camps. They were most currently introduced during World War II, where Adolf Hitler and Himmler used it to develop V2 missiles, that sort of thing, and even execution. Possession of a foreign USB stick or DVD can result in harsh punishment.
There's also no internet for citizens. Ordinary North Koreans can't access the global internet. Instead, they use a heavily censored domestic internet called
Kwamanyang.
Access to external information is considered a national security threat. But also, this is why the dark web is kind of almost good for North Koreans. Like, here it's very much frowned on, but in North Korea it's like, how else are you going to, like, access an uncensored web? It's illegal, but I'm pretty sure it's the only way they can actually get to the proper internet.
And the funny thing is, it's not like they're doing anything wrong, right? They're watching and seeing the same stuff that we have. This is another one, strict dress codes. So you know how I mentioned Western films and Western music is banned completely? Same with the dress code. Jeans are banned, and apparently this is from the North Korean government, because they apparently show American imperialism. Women cannot wear pants. Sorry, that's an American thing. Cannot wear trousers, jeans in certain settings. Skirts must meet certain standards. Western style fashion is forbidden unless it is specifically approved. So this would be if the government or diplomats can wear this specifically from Kim Jong-un's government and his superiors around him, saying, yep, definitely, that makes sense.
Another weird law is that if you run into a soldier, that is considered an offence and they can shoot you on the spot. Yeah,
so, and now I think, because I was talking to Nitin here, I'm going to mention the Lazarus Heist group. If you know anything about that, Nitin, that would be great.
Yeah.
For you.
Can I mention one more thing?
Definitely, go for it.
Okay, so with all these laws, it's no wonder that some North Koreans have tried to escape. And out of the 26 million population, it's almost never been successful. The only real place you can go to is South Korea, because they give you immediate citizenship if you're a refugee from North Korea.
Can I just sorry really quick saying that North Korea is one of the most heavily armed borders in the world.
Yeah, definitely. But also, it's in the later years of what's his name again? The guy before Kim Jong Il Sung. Many North Koreans managed to escape to South Korea. It was in the late 2000s, and it was an almost golden age for escaping North Korea. That was until Kim Jong-un came to play, and he just absolutely stopped it. And escaping from North Korea has never been harder.
Okay, now we're going to move on to the Lazarus Group. You might have heard of them. By the way, this information is subject to opinion and news stories that we've got. We are not certain that this is North Korea's hacker group, but all the evidence and all the proof shows to North Korea. Kim Jong-un has denied all accounts of this. So I'll go into the data that I have done some research on, and I've listened to the podcasts. So the Lazarus Group was developed in 2006 and have had multiple crime to do with. So the most famous one was the Sony heist, where they stole a record amount of money and released a large amount of spoilers, movies and things, which got rid of a lot of the publicity that Sony was getting at the time.
That's bad.
And the second one was the Bangladesh heist, where they stole, I think the plan was to steal 10 billion. They ended up with 3 billion. It's a very detailed, very hard to explain heist. I think my voice and my information would do justice for the heist itself. But all I can say is in 2022, the UN experts reported that the Lazarus heist / North Korea stole a record 630 million and over 1 billion in 2022, and using sophisticated cyber fraud techniques.
Quick note: Would you say that this was classified as a terrorist attack if they can confirm it was North Korea, or an random act of violence, or is it just a cyber threat?
Well, actually, the interesting thing is the reason why this one of the major evidences, they never threaten, as in they say we're doing this to get to make sure the country does this. They're doing it all for money, and that's why the Lazarus heist is believed to be almost like the army. Their main thing is all the profits that they go straight to Kim Jong-un / the North Korean Republic.
Once again, Kim Jong-un has never has denied all of this.
Yeah. Now this is information that is actually very interesting about the hackers, where you can, so you go to school like I normally do, you get trained, you learn, then at the age of 12 or 10, I haven't read this up in a while, you get sent to a very specialist school. If you're very, very smart, you go through a lot of tests, a lot of things, become a hacker if you're really, really smart at maths and IT. And if you're lucky, you get to leave the country for different reasons. Like in 2018, North Korea participated in the Higher Maths Challenge internationally. They came 7th. There's actually a picture of Kim Jong-un surprised face in anger by them coming 7th. By the way, just a quick recommendation. All my information that I've got and all the information that I've learned is from history.com. Dan Snow's History, The Rest is History, and Lazarus Heist. Really listen to the Lazarus Heist by BBC World Series. It is amazing and gives you all the information about North Korea and the potential hacker group. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening. I know if you're watching this and you're like a fan of like Laser Arena and stuff, but you're not a fan of all of this stuff, just then thanks for listening to the whole thing. And if you've never heard of of both channels, then subscribe to Divine Heads and maybe Laser Arena. But and if you're a Divine Head subscriber and you're coming to Laser Arena, thanks for switching. Thanks for that.
Can I just quickly say, people that are watching Lazy Arena, I know Nint's doing very well with that. If you have any siblings or you or even your mum or dad are interested in history and this sort of thing, please direct them to This Divine Heads, as we've just opened up today, and I think that this could go really well if we had your support. Thank you for listening. Bye.